everybody, welcome back to Crankin' Wagon YouTube. I know it's been a while and sort of uploads have been sporadic, but you know, that's life. Anyways, thanks for joining and all that. Hope you enjoy it. If you don't, I enjoy it, so it's all good. If you do like it though, if you don't mind, give me likes and subscriptions and share it. That would be much appreciated. Yeah, so anyway, just an update. And we're gonna update and work on the car today. I have a short period of time here where it's a little bit, where I have a little bit of free time. We're gonna get into cleaning, getting this thing running. So I'll let you know, because I did do some work without filming it. I found that the injector harness going to the main, so the main engine harness, it attaches right here, right? So it I found that there was a couple of wires that looked like they got pinched and hot and whatever. The car ran, never showed any signs of having any issues in terms of you know, shorts or whatever, but it was just something that I think probably came up or happened relatively new to or recent to it, because it never caused an issue. So whatever, I have spare harnesses, so I just I swapped that and I added a little more heat protection and make sure that whichever way it gets run, that it's even if it's touching something, it has a little more. I wrapped it in tape and put the sleeve or sheath, whatever you call that. So yeah, so now we're just doing some mock-up. Most of the turbo is on, those things are tight, exhaust is on. Let me see. Yeah, most of the connections in this area are sort of connected, and I sort of stopped because some parts came in that I need to mock up. So I figured it'd be better to do that. So I'll show you. So we have a complete direct port water meth setup. So I got this from Scott at USRT, so usually sideways rally team. Excuse my mess, sorry. So this is a 6+1 direct port water meth kit. There's some wiring instructions, but with my standalone, it simplifies a few things. The main thing, quality pump. We have 6 nozzles. We have this is the manifold for the nozzles. These are the nozzles that are going to go into the manifold. One is going to go into the intercooler pipe, and that's where this comes in here. So basically how it's going to work is pump will receive is gravity fed by the tank, which I'll show you. There's a pressure gauge. This is how VEMS how electronic is going to connect or control this. So into the pump, out into here. So this is the inlet. This will go to the intercooler. These 6, one in each runner for the VR6. So we have 30. I have to check again, but I think these are 35 cc nozzles per runner, and I think 275 for the intercooler. The idea being that the one in the intercooler is just for air cooling, and or just after the intercooler, I should say, is just for air cooling, and then the 6 in the runners will be for octane control. So it'll be basically like having a 100 octane fuel while still running pump fuel. The main thing why I did that is because I really wanted to have the car free to drive wherever it needed to be, because there's only one pump of E85. It's a half hour away from me, and then there isn't one for like 1,000 miles. So so that's the idea behind that. So that's what we're going to do for now. There is the ability to replace this in the future with another additional nozzle, which I could put right after the turbo to increase the efficiency of the intercooler. But for now, this is the kit that we went with. This is a solid state relay, lines, and we have the tank tap and fuel ascending, or the sending unit to let it know when it's low. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the factory washer nozzle washer bottle, because let me see, there's like still 2 liters of washer fluid in there. This washer fluid has been in here for, I'd say, easily like 12 years. So I almost never ever use the washer fluid, because once this used to be the family car, and once it became my baby, it was like, you know, this only saw good weather. Here in Alberta, it is super dry, so totally unnecessary. Like, I just don't even need it. One thing I am going to do actually, though, is I'm going to leave the stock pump connected and the lines connected, so that if I'm in a situation where I get sprayed with something, I'll just spray the windshield with water meth. It's not a big deal for emergency purposes. Otherwise, this is going to be the tank for the water meth. So it holds 5 liters, which is nice. And yeah, so what we're going to do is, now I've been kind of playing around with where I'm going to mount everything. And, you know, it gets kind of busy in the engine bay, because there's going to be your, you know, you still have your intercooler pipes, the battery goes there, this is where the headlights are going to be and all that. I'm going to make an intake, so this area is going to have the filter, the catch can, and intercooler pipe coming down. So I wasn't sure really where to mount the pump. It is quite large. I know a lot of guys mount stuff in the back. I don't want to mount stuff in the back just because the tank is already here. And I don't want to run lines and all that. And I was considering putting the battery in the back, and for the same reasons as I already stated, I just don't want to run all that stuff to the back. So that's just kind of where it is. Plus, I mean, it's a power car. Having weight on the front tires really doesn't bother me. So right here in this little cavity is where I'm going to put the pump. So the pump will go here. I'll run the lines down, and then what we're going to do is I have to find a spot to mount the manifold for the nozzles. So here we're gonna have to make a bracket or something, because where I'd like it to be is just kind of right here in this area, right under the manifold. It's a decent space to put something, because there's a little cavity right here, because you have to imagine here is where the alternator and all that's going to be. So and then in this area right here, you know, you have your you're gonna have the intercooler down in here, you have the rad, and then the rad fans, and the motor for the rad fan sits right about here. So this area right here seems to be like the open space where I could mount this guy. So just a quick update. Yeah, so this is the solenoid that's gonna activate these nozzles. So how we're gonna have it set up is that the standalone ECU will at, like, you know, let's say 3 or 4 psi, will activate the pump at a low pressure. Not super low, but like it won't be maxed out. It'll be maybe like 70% or something like that, whatever it is. It'll go into the intercooler. Then, so it'll only spray post intercooler the one nozzle. After like 3 or 4 psi, whatever we decide, for additional air cooling to get ahead of heat soak, right? Then at whatever psi we decide, whether it's let's just say 10 psi for number's sake, this will the ECU will trigger this solenoid so that it'll open flow to the nozzles. So these will go up into the manifold, and then as load increases, the ECU will apply more pressure. So eventually we're going to run this pump at full jam will be 220 psi. So we'll have to set that up in terms of like when it gets activated and when we need full pressure and how much boost we're going to be running and horsepower or whatever. We size these nozzles with Scott at USRT. Sort of, we were looking at, he does calculations based on horsepower goals. So I said, you know, it'd be nice to be at, eventually to be at 600 horsepower, because that's kind of where the turbo is going to be at its limit, safe limit. So we could always go up in nozzle size. Maybe that's something we do when we go up in turbo size, but for now, that's what we're aiming for. So, yeah, so far dealing with Scott at USRT. If anyone wants to do water meth, highly recommend talking to him. He takes the time to talk to you, to explain things, to sort of debunk misconceptions or myths about water meth injection. And he will do the math and everything so that you can cater a setup according to your build versus buying a off-the-shelf thing with a huge nozzle. It doesn't really make sense to do that when you can have a custom kit made. And I don't see, like, the it just makes more sense. You know what I mean? Obviously, this is a little more expensive because we've gone with direct port, but still, it's reasonable. I think this setup here is, I think, 200, 220, something like that. So not very expensive in my books. And it's a good solution for a street-driven car to have higher octane. And the thing is like with direct port, I mean, you're ensuring that you're getting equal distribution into each cylinder. When guys are running huge nozzles in the intercooler pipe, you know, they're spraying all this misty fluid, sort of like a gas, I guess, because it's mystified, but either way, it's still a liquid. And modern fuel injection manifolds are not designed for liquids. They are designed to move air. Like a carburetor manifold is designed for a liquid to be in it, right? And even then, distribution is still an issue. But these are not meant to equally distribute liquids into your engine. The only way you can do that is by having a runner in each cylinder the same size, and that way you apply equal distribution to each cylinder. So that's the science behind that. So, and the intercooler nozzle, the intercooler pipe nozzle, is pretty small. It's really just all it's gonna do is cool the air. It's so that's the intention. Yeah, the next video we're gonna be mounting brackets and continuing to just put this together, and then we're gonna start it up on the old tune. I still have the same 630cc injectors, which eventually I'll upgrade, but for now it's what I have. So we're gonna break in the motor with the tune that's in it. Currently 3-bar fuel pressure regulator, so we're gonna be at 4-bar after the break-in, and I think we'll be okay. I think with 630cc injectors, you can definitely at 4-bar you can get pretty close to 500 wheel, and the addition of the water meth, well, it's additional fuel and better octane control, so we'll be able to, I'm sure, get over 500 wheel pretty safely, and that should put us pretty close to 600 horsepower, I would say. A little under, but But even then, at 500 plus wheel, you know, you're in danger of breaking these little crappy transmissions. So yeah, anyway, this is getting too long. So quick update, and next video we'll have some work.